Welcome, everyone. My name's Jeff St. Laurent, and this is the Tuesday Live Show. And if you can see, I got a whole crew on board. So in just a minute, I'm going to introduce them. But before I get going, I do record all of my live shows, and I put them on my university on my website, sellingcoaching.com. I help coaches transition to a full-time business. These are 3 of those awesome coaches. So I have a lot of great resources that are available to you right on the homepage. If you check it out, you can enter your name and email address. You get an audio resource. It's Launching Your Coaching Business, the first 3 vital steps. Even if you feel like you've launched your coaching business and it's been a while, I would recommend you listen to that because it really steps off on the fundamental steps to get you started. I got a lot of other great resources on there as well, but I want to jump right in. And I have 3 of my great mentor coaching clients. They all did a 5-month group mentor coaching program with me. And so I'd like to welcome Alison Whitecare, Deryl Sweeney, and Catherine LaBelle. Welcome, everyone.
Thanks.
Hi.
So this is cool because we did our 5-month program. We wrapped up, call it a month ago-ish, month and a half ago. And it seems like it goes by so quickly. And we wanted to have like a celebration. I always do a celebration at the end. And the dates didn't work out. And I'm like, what if we did a live celebration on my Tuesday live show? It's kind of like culminating our 5 months together, but also not only so, like I like to do that so we can kind of recap and see, what do we accomplish? What do we do in 5 months, and just kind of reminisce as well. But I was like, what if we did it live where other coaches got a chance and an opportunity to kind of hear it and see it and feel it as well? Because not only is it great doing when I do one-on-one work, but the cool part is when we do it in a group, not only you get my mentorship, but you get the group pulling from each other. And we had a nice small group of 3. So I was able to go live and not have 8, 9 people on at once. So anyways, let's start this off. And I just want for coaches watching this or the recording of this to get a feel for kind of where, like a brief snapshot where each of you were at, if you can remember, when we started this program. So when we started off doing this and you said, all right, I need some help, and you decided to do this 5-month program. So maybe Alison, jump in first. If you can remember where your business was.
Oh, I remember. It was at well, as far as the online piece of the business, it was at ground zero or ground whatever. Ground zero sounds pretty scary. No, it hadn't been just blown up, but it was. I wasn't really aware of all of the things that I needed to do to get my business online. And so I started with the GoProChallenge, which was 14-day boot camp of just getting your ass online and doing it, whether you fall flat on your face or not. It's part of the process. But then I realized I just wanted to have more of that kind of structured mentoring to get everything else up and running, because I didn't have a website. I didn't have any kind of a regular weekly format that I felt comfortable with being live online. And so so I got a lot of help from the group and from Jeff in terms of getting all the copy together, which seemed like a monumental project right from the beginning, for my website, how to be presenting what it is that I have to offer. And I just got a lot of great feedback from Jeff and also from Kat and Deryl. And so that's where I was. I was basically at the beginning of getting online.
Yeah. And it's good to see, it's funny listening to you because I think back to all the things that we did, which we'll talk about in a minute, and you just were starting from scratch. So we really had to pull everything together for you. Kat, what about you? Kind of where were you at, even emotionally as well?
Yeah, I had just gotten my website together and was ready to go start shaking hands and going to meetups. And I like to be face-to-face to get new clients and enter COVID-19. So it was a time I felt exhausted by trying to be creative and come up with, my plan of action. And then all of a sudden I needed a new plan of action on top of a plan of action. And that was when I connected with you.
Yeah.
I was worried about, I don't know if you all can still hear me. I may be frozen, but I was worried about getting the next step accomplished. And I do so much better with accountability. So I was feeling stuck and excited all at the same time. And I knew I needed help.
Yeah. I know for you, like that accountability was like the biggest thing, like
Huge.
accountability and structure.
Yes. Yeah. And I needed to get out of my own way. I was also really needing some counsel. So not just what do you think is right, but just, yes, these things will work. So that I had a formula and a structure, and then I had to speak up for myself the next day and tell you all, did I do it or not? Because otherwise I think I could have felt sorry for myself or exhausted and taken another week and then another week. And instead we came up with a plan. There was support. It was invigorating. So
I like how you say it was invigorating, right?
It was. I mean, I need a little fear in there, just put a little dash of fear in there.
Yeah.
I have to get this done.
Yeah, we definitely dialed in some of the pieces, of that initiated that fear, because we were definitely pushing you along the way.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's good stuff. Not a negative thing. Just, okay, it's like when the start gun goes off, you need to start running. And I was ready to have the gun go off so I could start running.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm excited to talk a little bit more about kind of what the running looked like for you as well. But first, let's hear from Deryl in terms of kind of a snapshot of kind of where you were at with your business and what you felt you were needing the most as well.
Yeah. I mean, connecting with you caught me at an interesting time because you mentioned the mental side of it. And that was a big part of it for me is I had just kind of had a moment of self-awareness before we connected. And I'd realized that as I was trying to launch this business. So I talked to you kind of pre-launch, and I was trying to launch this business, and I kept finding things to do that gave me the sense that I was moving forward, but it hit me like a ton of bricks that all at the same time I was staying really safe, right? So I would work on content on my website, or I would find somebody else to help me with saying something just the right way or making something look just the right way or do all these things. But nobody knew I was launching a coaching business. I wasn't out there. So, I connected with you and we talked about that. And when I started, I was in my other job. I was in my previous job. So I hadn't made the transition. So kind of engaging with you was a way, kind of like Kat said, to add a piece of outside accountability and the structure of this group to say, hey, get out there and let's see what that looks like. Granted, you pushed me out the door a little bit faster than I planned on going, but I mean, it was perfect. It was what I needed. It was all the right stuff. But yeah, so I mean, I went from pre-transition to launching a coaching business.
Let's talk about that a little bit, pushing you out the door even a little quicker than you wanted to go. Talk about like what that actually means in terms of like what we did and what you felt in terms of a little bit too much or more than you probably had anticipated. I think those are the pieces that are important for people to hear. What does that work look like?
Yeah, no, I do think it's an important piece because it's an important part of my journey. It was, hey, I don't think the website's quite right, or I don't know exactly how to talk about this piece, or what if someone wants to engage and sign up? What does that look like? Right. And I just hadn't worked all that stuff out in my mind to the point that I felt ready. And just through our conversations, I don't know that you ever really asked. I think it was, okay, so it sounds like your website's almost there. So we'll launch that this week. And you're going to put together your friends and family list, and we're going to start sending emails. And, oh, by the way, why don't we start considering, doing a Facebook Live or a show like this or some other way to get you out there? Let's talk about kind of the lead magnet on your website, right? So, I mean, just really quickly, it was almost an assumption that you showed up with that, hey, these are the pieces. This is the path to get out there. And you're already halfway there. You've already begun them. You already know what it looks like in your mind. So it doesn't sound like there's anything between now and taking it live. So right. It was just your assumption almost that, hey, we have all this stuff, so let's just do it. That I think allowed me, just the way you came across and the way you said the things to me, it was like, yeah, let's just do it. Let's show up. Let's get this stuff out there. And I mean, he doesn't see any reason for it not to be live and not to be out there. So let's put it out there and see what happens. And that was, I mean, honestly, that just got the snowball rolling for me in such a powerful way. And as you all know, and as you could have predicted, being on the other side of it, you then see all the stuff that was holding you back from getting out there and going public as just stuff that was unnecessarily slowing you down. So,
Right.
Yeah, I know. And that's an interesting point. Alison too, but Kat, I saw you kind of laughing when Deryl was saying all that stuff. What were you connecting with?
Oh, shoot. Now I can't hear you.
I'll say.
Okay. So will you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was saying you were laughing while Deryl was kind of like talking about, pushing you out the door and some of the things that he was asking you to do.
Frozen
Like,
again.
what were you connecting with there?
Okay. So because you're freezing, I think I know what question you asked, which was, why was I laughing when Deryl was talking about that? And I think I would probably still be where I was before we started working together in some capacity if I hadn't joined this group, because going public, doing a live show, putting myself out there, like Deryl was talking about, putting myself out there and being public is a massive vulnerability phase. And I think I would have found reasons why I needed to keep tweaking so that I had a better presentation at some point. And you drove the point home of at this point, there's no reason to wait. And so how about next week? And it's like having a coach yelling, to get up a hill, run, just start, run, go with a stopwatch. It's like you stop getting in your own way. You just think, oh my God, I'm supposed to be running. So back to the running and the start gun going off. It's like you almost remove the ability to argue with progress. And that's the part I identify with. It's like, oh, I have to go live on some show next week. Okay, sure, why not? Jeff said to, I guess I'm going to.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, it's cool.
And it's interesting you talk about that. I never thought about that. I show up with an assumption, and I guess the assumption that I realize that I show up with is that, by hiring me and doing a one-on-one, or in this case, a group mentoring, like there's the assumption that, well, it's not really an assumption because I've clarified it with you all, right? But that you want to do your coaching business. So I'm like, all right, if you want to do your coaching business, there are certain elements that you need to have. We can adapt them however they work for each of you. Which kind of we just got to push you out the door. And it's funny because each week as we do it, I see your faces as I'll say stuff, and there's like that big, like, okay, all right, sure, I guess. Alison, when I go, I want to hear your reaction to some of that as well. But what I appreciated about you was everyone works at their own pace, right? With the things that I do, as you imagine, with groups and things like that. And what I really liked about you is there are certain things when we asked to do of you that some things you're like, yeah, great. And you did them. And there are some things where you're like, whoa, this is bigger, or this makes me really uncomfortable. And what I really enjoyed is that you really, and we all work together with this, but you really honored the pace that worked for you. And we very quickly get to understand, hey, if we don't honor this, it's not going to work, So talk about kind of like going off of what they were saying, as we're kind of like throwing you out to the fire saying, all right, let's do X, Y, and Z. Share with everybody kind of like how you honored your pace and how it worked for you. Because no matter what we do, if we don't honor that, then we're going to trip over our own feet, so to speak.
Well, for me, it was like, doing A before B and then B before C. So it was like, I really didn't, like, I had this much bandwidth when I joined the group, and then Jeff stretched it out to about this much. And then in order to be able to stay sane and not freak out about my bandwidth, like all of a sudden being this much bigger, I had to sort of choose between what can I put my attention on, because this is all so new to me. And my coaching business was all just like going and meeting people and talking to them and asking them powerful questions. And they say, hey, I want more. And I say, well, here, let's start doing some coaching. But obviously with COVID, that didn't happen. And so there was so much new stuff with joining this group. But I signed up because I wanted to do the new stuff. And so I just knew at certain points, it's like, okay, I need to get my website. I need to figure out a format for my interview show. I need to learn how to use PowerPoint to create my course. I have to learn how to hook up payment to my website. And it's like, I can't even begin to think about creating course content at this point. But So I did it in an order that I felt comfortable with. The accountability every Tuesday afternoon that we got together was a great part of it, because it would be like maybe Sunday and I was like, hey, this has been a great weekend. It's like, oh shit, Tuesday's coming up. And it was amazing some of the days what I could figure out very quickly by Tuesday. So by keeping it focused on what am I capable, where's my bandwidth right now, I don't want to do a half-assed job, but I also don't want to baby myself. So that's how it worked out. I ended up getting all of the things done and more that I was hoping to get done. And I also created the landing page for my course, which I'm launching in January. So I had to just do it. I knew I could only do so many things at once and really do them well. So I'll fall flat on my face in January and no, just kidding. It'll be good.
No, it was great though, because I would find that, I always love it when I always like to see how hard and people can be pushed and then find their own pace within that, and I liked how we found that. Let's start with you.
One more thing though. One more thing I just wanted to mention, because I came in at ground zero and Kat and Deryl had already gotten their websites together. And so I saw what they were being assigned to do was to create a challenge or a course or a mini course or something like that. And so part of the bonuses of being in a cohort is that I could be working on the things that I needed to be working on, but all along I was getting little bits of understanding and awareness of what was to come when I took care of the foundation that I was working on. So that's, props to Kat and Deryl for showing me the way.
Yeah. So Alison, let's kind of bullet point some of the things that you accomplished over the 5 months. Because I think this is for all of us to kind of go back and look at, like, what did we actually do? And going back to Kat's point about how, she's like, I don't think I would have done any of the things that I did. Doesn't mean you would do any of them, but right. Also, you might not have done any of them,
right?
Without that push and that camaraderie. Every Tuesday, like you said, shit, it's Tuesday's coming up. Like, I'm going to be asked what's going on. Where have you gotten? What questions do you have? And in that, the consistency of that really keeps you accountable and keeps you on your toes. Mm-hmm. But so Alison, I know from my mind of some of the things that you did, but like bullet pointed off, like, what did you do?
Well, it started out with me just getting on to Facebook and pressing record on Facebook Live, just like Kat. It's just like, there's no way I would be doing this if I wasn't if I wasn't a part of this group and, paying to be in this group. It's like, well, what are you going to do? You're just going to throw your money away? No, you're going to step out on a cliff and you're going to figure it out. Yeah. So I did that. I started a little series called Self-Love Life Hacks. And, I was very awkward. I interact well with people, but when I'm just talking, I just kind of space out. So I figured out a better way for me to get out there, which I'm loving right now. And I started a YouTube channel, and the show is called Regarding Change. And each week, I have an extraordinary everyday person come on the show, and we have a discussion about major transitions or major changes that they've made and the risks and the rewards, and basically change makers. It seems like most of the people that I have all of the people that I have on the show are trying to make a difference in the world. So that's always cool. And then we listen to the chances that they had to take, but the risk of staying the same was so much worse than the risk of changing, just in terms of their viewpoint and wanting to follow their heart and live out their dreams, because nobody else is going to. And then the website was huge, because that's just sort of like a home base for me getting my messaging together. And let's see, then creating the course, learning how to create a landing page, setting up the email, just a lot of stuff, and just finding out how it is that I best communicate online. You look at other people and how other coaches do it, and you can pick some tips up from there, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the way that is best for you. So, each of us has to figure out our own way.
I think also it's for you going out and with your interviews, I mean, obviously the three of us have been on there as well, right? But
Yes.
You really had to start reaching out to people and figure out like what am I going to say? How am I going to ask them? And you've come up with a really good system of starting to not only take that to production, but how do I start reaching out to people, which is going to ultimately start to grow your network.
Yeah. And then also learning how to use video editing. And it's just been, like Kat was saying, it's like, there's no way that I could have done all of this on my own. And that's a good testament to you, Jeff, but also just a testament to the power of coaching. When you hire a coach, any coach that, to help you, if you're hiring them, chances are they're going to help you skyrocket your results.
Yeah. Well, and I think the biggest testament is to each of you. Like, it might sound like cliche type of thing, but like to each of you and like what you can accomplish. Like, I always like to push people because I want to show what you're capable of. When I was personal trainer years ago, it's just like, look at what you were able to accomplish. Like you just showed your ceiling. You just showed you have a work capacity in a small amount of time. So a lot of people don't have that confidence. And if I can leave you at the end of 5 months, if that's where our work concludes for now, feeling confident about what you can accomplish, that's huge.
It's big. Yeah.
Yeah. So like Kat, with you, like, we really pushed you. Like, you did great because you were like doing events. Like, you were the one that actually you did events. So talk about some of like your accomplishments through the 5 months, because like that was a big one for you of setting that all up, marketing it, doing a partnership. And then ultimately after you did that, obviously the follow up, but then how are you pulling that, into moving it forward now? So maybe talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So because of helping me move forward and go public, not only did you encourage me to do the weekly live show live, it was recorded, but put live. That got me hearing my own voice and more comfortable with the idea of starting to get out there and connecting. And when I realized that there was no reason for me to wait, I reached out to another business and we decided to partner. And it was something we had talked about earlier, but with COVID and everything else, we just had pushed pause. And then I used this momentum that our group was creating to just say, let's don't wait. And I realized that, of course, on their end, there are reasons why they might wait too. And I just said, let's don't wait. Let's pick a date. And I worked with them to hold an event in-house with their members only. So it felt sort of exclusive, and it was and that meant I had to clarify my program. I had to be comfortable going, build a Facebook Live group to send out newsletters, all the communication necessary, and then also be ready to bring back these potential clients into my marketing stream so that maybe I could capture a one-on-one. It was like drinking from a fire hose. It was incredible. But just like we were talking about, once you say it out loud and it's public, now you figure it out. You just figure it out. But it's so easy to talk yourself out of it when you don't want to drink from a fire hose. Maybe you don't want to drink from a fire hose. But once you've done it, you're like, I did it, and then it gets a life of its own and it's exciting. Now, all of a sudden, instead of being scared about the details, you're enjoying what it is that you became a coach for.
Oh, that's exactly it. And yeah. I know you pushed really hard to get yourself out there and become really uncomfortable with, speaking and preparing and then following up, which has been huge. So Deryl, for you, I mean, one of the things I love the most about what you did was one of your programs that you talked about, your 1 month, one goal. But that was like just the start of it for you. It really for you, it's just, you started getting yourself out there and you got clients, man. You got paid. I forget the actual statistics or final numbers in terms of number of clients, but like you were definitely on a roll. So, I mean, I definitely talk about your program a little bit, but talk about kind of the bigger picture of your marketing and what you did.
Yeah, I mean, I think you ask an interesting question because you're talking about like, okay, what did we accomplish during this thing? And really what is, the ultimate question I imagine for people watching this is what is the value if I'm considering this, right? So they talked a lot about some of the things we did, right? Your feedback through the website process, through, helping me put together some of the things, really just simplify things I was already doing, right? I have a habit of starting with a bunch of stuff, and you provided feedback throughout the way that allowed me to slim down, scale down, get rid of things that weren't necessary and really simplify. What comes top of mind are the website for one, but then also the welcome packet, right? To welcome new clients into the program. And there was just stuff in there that, would it be valuable? Maybe, maybe not. But really at the end of the day, it was unnecessary. So I feel like just having that second set of eyes on the things I was doing helped me get to, where's the real value? Where's the meat? And put something that I'm very proud of and excited to put in front of clients. So that was a big part of it. I realize that your show and everything you do is called Selling Coaching, and I feel like all we've talked about is marketing. So the thing I'll highlight, the other thing I'll highlight is the selling part. Like you provided a tremendous amount of value for me when it came to understanding the sales process and building out the seemingly disparate pieces in my head and putting them together to make sense as far as, okay, it starts with this 15-minute kind of needs assessment, and we're really going to dig into what is the need of the client, right? It's all about them. What is their need? Figure out timing, figure out if there's really an opportunity here or if they're just poking around and there's a consideration. So I've brought some of that kind of diligence into my process. And that has very naturally led to, once I understand that, offering an opportunity for us to talk and then to experience what coaching is like. And that has very naturally led to them turning into clients, so it's been a very authentic way for me to talk about the sales part of it. It was really helpful for me to be able to develop out, well, how do you talk about what you charge? How do you talk about the details of the program? How do you push somebody to, I don't know what coaching is, but I'm kind of curious. Can this help to, how do we as coaches make it an easy decision for somebody to make on the impact this could have? And having that process laid out, I mean, I've had little tweaks, but working through that with you and having my process in place, like I don't even think about it anymore. Something that I didn't know how it was going to get done from, hey, I'm interested in coaching. Tell me about what you do. And that being an awkward moment. Now it is just so natural to me. And yeah, I mean, I added a handful of clients, during the program. So that was awesome. And it was very much the proof is in the pudding, right? So we talked about, I simplified kind of what I sent out. That was one of the big things I did. I was able to develop my sales process. That was a big thing I did. And then really just internally, just feeling natural about it all, and understanding how people are coming into the funnel, how we're getting in front of people, but then what conversations are we having and what are we saying to allow them to move forward and comfortable in the decisions they're making and engaging with me. And I felt like that really has allowed me with all the clients I've started with to begin well. And that was always really important to me.
Yeah, and I really like how you said with the process we started to develop, having that second set of eyes on that, like ultimately for you, it led to all the natural pieces that felt good for you and gave you the confidence to get out there.
Yeah.
And like you said, and that naturally led to this. And that naturally it led to you getting clients,
yeah.
Right? And I feel like that I haven't heard it put that way before, but I like the fact that like when you have a flow and a natural progression and you understand the progression and you're comfortable and excited about the progression, then it's just a matter of like, okay, when I get in front of new people, it's just a matter of bringing them through the process. It's like a water slide.
That's right.
Like as long as you can get them like up there and once you get them on it, like there's a natural progression, they're going to end up at the pool down the bottom.
Yeah, well, and it releases the pressure of, it made it really easy to release the thought of, well, how do I make this person a client, right? It just took all that off the table. And it went more naturally to what's the next step that's going to allow them to make this decision, right? So it's, and again, it was just all very natural. And it showed up in a very big way in my business. And it showed up in a very big way in the results of once we had the first conversation. So what's going in the top of the funnel, what's coming out the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. So let's start to wrap this up with each of you. We'll start with Deryl since we're on you. biggest value for you, like in terms of like, what do you feel over the 5 months? What's been the most valuable for you? And then just a final thought for the whole team. Because like, I really loved, I mean, all of the groups have a different dynamics, but I personally love it when groups like the three of you gel together, and I see you in our private Facebook group helping each other out. You're getting on other phone calls, you know, someone needs this, and, you know, Daryl's the expert in this, or Kat's the expert here, or, you know, Alison here. And then you're all helping each other out in addition to what I can do. But just Daryl, for you, you know, biggest value you take away over the 5 months, and a thought for the group before we head off.
I think the biggest value for me was to just do it, right? I was talking, you talk about gelling. I was talking to Kat this morning, and, you know, I was telling her a story about how I'm talking to a potential client, and I given him some feedback, and he shared it with his wife, and she told him, well, this sounds like something you would tell somebody. And I told him in the moment, I said, yeah, and that's why I have a coach, right? Because it's really easy for me to work with clients and help them get out of their own way. But when it comes to me getting out of my own way, it's not quite that simple, right? So the biggest value was just working with you and your ability to consistently get me out of my own way and keep me moving forward. Because, you know, I don't think anything we did was rocket science, right? But it's all the mental blocks. It's all the things holding us back and keeping us safe that we just sit on. It slows us down and it keeps us safe and just doesn't serve us. And I think through this process, working with you and working with the group, being able to move beyond that and just do it, stealing some words from Nike, but to just do it puts you out there, and then the fun begins, right? Then the learning begins and the growth begins. So I think it's just that getting out of my own way and just that forward momentum. And as far as kind of final thoughts for the group, yeah, I love the group experience because, you know, it's one thing to work one-on-one with a coach, and I think there's a ton of value in that. But it also gets really interesting when you have the right group and the right people that are bringing in different perspectives, that are doing it a different way, and you're able to talk about and understand what's working in their business, what's not working in their business, and what is and isn't working in their businesses. And the whole time you can listen while truly and genuinely caring about what's going on for them, but also asking yourself, how does this apply to me? What does this mean for me? What can I learn from Kat's success or the challenges she's experiencing, or from what Alison went through last week? So yeah, I mean, those are the big value pieces, both in just working kind of within your processes to start, but also within this group framework.
Yeah. Thanks, Daryl. Alison, what about you? What are your thoughts?
I think probably the greatest values I got out of it was having a mentor coach who is also trained as a life coach, so that when I would be getting, it's sort of like having a consultant, but who comes at it from a coaching angle, so that you're consulting with where I'm at, as opposed to just telling me, just do these things. So, you know, it was nice that Jeff would have various ways of handling, because, you know, there's many roads to the kingdom, right? So various ways of handling a problem. And then also being able to connect with Kat and Daryl inside and outside of the group on things that, you know, we could all relate to and we could help each other with. So that's why I joined the group. I think I got a lot more out of this kind of a setting than I necessarily would out of one-on-one coaching. I mean, they're different things, but just being able to not always be in the focus seat and hear what Kat or Daryl are going through and the obstacles they're overcoming is just really helpful as well. So that kind of mentorship that is kind of coachy as well. So it's not like just a consultant telling you what to do.
Yeah, I think that is an important piece of it, because you're not just a robot, you know, like do this, this, and this. It's like you said, the pacing, we need to figure out and how it all adapts to you. So, Kat, what about your final thoughts?
I second all of that. Really, it was this group helped me have the confidence and the knowledge to get out of my own way and to believe that the next step was the right step, so that my path was cleared to move forward. And that's what I needed. I feel prepared to coach, but I needed the steps to have it, of how to get my coaching business 5 paces ahead. And I couldn't have done it without this group and the support, and it's super inspirational. And I got exactly what I got, more than I was hoping for. It's awesome.